What if we did like what if we started at the end and then did a zzz, you know what I mean?
A rewind?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm scared.
Yeah, that doesn't even really make sense. It doesn't make sense.
I mean, great thoughts. I love the creativity.
So supportive. She's so supportive because what the fuck am I saying right now? Girl, what?
Welcome to another episode of She Well Read. I'm Alana.
And I'm Samra.
And we are the Bite-Size Book Club podcast, where we welcome all readers, whether you read once a month, whether you read once a year, or whether you read a bunch of books in a month, which is not us. But, you know, we would love to do that. Everybody's welcome. Everybody, we love you.
We love you.
And we want you to be here.
You don't even have to read at all.
That's another one. We have options.
You don't even have to know how to read.
You don't.
Don't. Because we'll read.
For you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's our show. Shout out corner, which is where we shout out all the things, where you can find us, where you can follow us, and how you can support us. Follow us everywhere at She Well Read. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at She Well Read. We also have a Patreon where we do monthly calls and episodes, which is coming soon, y'all. We've been having some tech difficulties, but it's happening. And also support this season's partners, Be Rooted, which is a stationery brand company, Black owned, woman owned, love to see it. And Basic, which again, woman owned, small business here in downtown Birmingham, but they also have an online shop, sustainable fashion. You love to see it.
You better work.
Bitch. All the discount codes can be found in the episode description and all of the links in our bios and all the things. So let's get into the coffee break, where we dish. And this is like the book clubby aspect to the book club. So let's get into it. We are talking today about The Submersive, which unfortunately we found out today at the time of this recording that unfortunately everyone on this ship has perished. So grievances to all of the families. Listen, because The Submersive, it's just everybody is so unserious about it. And that's everybody is a submarine expert now.
Like what? When I saw the picture of, and I don't know if this is accurate because I don't know what's real anymore, but they were so deep into the ocean that I'm like, how did they find the ruins or whatever?
The ruins of the time.
How did they make it down there that fast?
Well, I think from what I've seen, and I could be wrong, it was like a 9-hour journey total. It's like the whole trip is 9 hours. Like you go down, you see it, you come back up, 9 hours total.
That's insane. Okay, that I didn't know.
Yeah.
I just assumed it took a long time.
Yeah, but and somebody said this so perfectly. I don't know if I saw it on Twitter or TikTok, but like there have been more people that have been to space than have explored the sea.
Yeah.
Like we have not explored like 95% of the ocean.
They always say that.
And it's true, like, as we've seen with Submersive Watch, as I like to call it, because that's what it's been, like, they don't know. They're going off of fucking hunches.
I'm trying to find them. Like, why are we going up before we go down into the ocean? The ocean, we can, like, literally get in the ocean. So it feels way more, like, top of mind than the damn space. Because I can't touch space.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. Like, why are we not chipping away at the 95%?
Because the 95% is scary.
Space scary, too.
Space is also... But, like, I don't know.
I guess there's not, like, demons in this space.
Bitch.
There's, like, water demons and shit. Who knows? I don't know.
I don't know.
Like the Bermuda Triangle?
Space is harder.
Are we looking into it? What's going on?
No, because nobody wants to get fucking lost in the Bermuda Triangle.
I just feel like if you're brave enough to go to space, there's got to be somebody on this planet who's brave enough to go into the
probably,
water.
And they've been trying. I mean, it's not like they haven't been trying at all. It's just, I think water is harder because of the force of water. I mean, space is
Gravity.
Hard too. I know, but like,
I
water.
took astrology, astronomy once. When you took astronomy, gravity. Bitch, remember?
Yeah,
Gravity.
that's what's keeping us down. I know.
Girl,
But
I don't know. It's just also mysterious. So to me, for people to have paid to go down there.
But let's
Quick
look into
trip?
the company, though.
Hello?
Like, it's not.
That's questionable. Huge.
There were
Lawsuits
so
gotta
many
be.
red flags.
I'm so
going into
confused.
it.
How are they still up and running?
Because, like, I don't know. I guess nobody made a big enough complaint. Like,
That's insane. They were still taking people's money, and there was some
$250,000.
And that's like what, 4 people on there?
I think it was 5.
5?
Well, including the pilot. Quotes.
As the pilot, how do you feel? There are so many fucking L's that happen.
Explorers,
on the
adventurers, like that. This is their shit.
Wanderlust.
This is their shit.
Stop. Just stop. Take the wanderlust. Remove the tattoo.
Not remove the tattoo.
Give it up. Give it up.
But they're how we find out about all these great things. So we do still need them.
I mean, I guess this situation, though, to me, it was unnecessary. Did not need to happen. Why? The energy around the Titanic is already so bad. And, like, I mean, the whole energy, the vibes, but it is like
it's an experience. Like, I think I saw this on Twitter. Somebody was like, that 19-year-old was so ready to go back to college and get all the bitches because he gonna say, I've seen the Titanic.
Bitches do not care. Sorry to that man. I'm sorry.
I think it's on Twitter, but I was like, it's sad. It's sad.
It's
but
very upsetting.
The internet is such an unserious place.
I feel like I can't even take in news anymore. I'm so desensitized.
Yeah, and I think it's because I found out about all of it on social media that it's like you take it so much less serious than like when you like, because I've been on Twitter and CNN. 2 totally different vibes.
Oh, really?
You know what I mean? Because
I don't turn on my cable. I don't even. All I do is look at fucking Twitter and TikTok.
Right. And all the think pieces. And they're unserious.
And hearing you say submersive, I just couldn't. I'm so sorry. Because that was inappropriate if you watched the video.
Wait, submersive?
When you were saying that initial thing, I couldn't.
You couldn't take it serious?
I couldn't. It was not my best moment. But like, what? I've never even heard of this word. It's just everything I've learned about this against my will type of thing.
That too.
This is not a part of my reality. Mm-hmm. I don't know any of these people.
We're not billionaires.
They're so out of my life. Yeah, it's like first world problems to a whole nother level of like, oh, I can't comprehend this.
Yeah.
Because what? This far in the ocean? Can't comprehend it.
Right. Like the whole setup, all of the like the employee who was like, yo, this is unsafe, and then got fired.
Oh.
Like.
So somebody's going down. Somebody's going to jail.
But I think the company, and I don't know all the facts, I think the company was already about to shut down.
Oh, why would you go?
But somebody who was supposed to go backed out and asked for their deposit back.
Was it Chris Brown? Because why is Twitter saying that?
What?
Twitter said it was Chris Brown that
decided
it wasn't fucking
Chris Brown. It was not Chris Brown.
No.
What the fuck?
Girl, I said Chris Brown. I was like, damn, what? That was a close one.
No, it was not Chris. I don't know, but that's not who I'm talking about. It was like the friend of one of the billionaires that was on the thing. He was like, I backed out because it just did not seem safe. It did not seem like 1 + 1 didn't equal 2. The math wasn't mathing.
Yeah, right. But I guess if 250,000 is not much to you, maybe you're just like, oh yeah, I'll book it.
I mean, if you think about it, when you're that rich, like the world is like filled with endless possibilities. Like you're like, fuck, I could go see the Titanic if I wanted to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I feel like you probably don't think you can even die at that type of rich wealth level.
Yeah, like
I would feel invincible.
That's the
like,
word.
Who's gonna take me down? The government? Y'all in debt.
The water?
Yeah, that. They weren't accounting for.
And maybe they were and were willing enough to take hell. I think they probably had to sign a waiver of some sort, I would think.
Wow. No, they did.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I saw, and it was like, you could die.
But I think it's sometimes like when we like, I mean, think about like drug commercials where they're like,
or
all
death.
of the right or death is
And we
literally
take
on there, and
it.
we take it because you know what I mean. You don't think that it could be you, but it's like somebody's got to be in there for
And
that
they've
or
been
death
down
to happen,
before.
right? You know what my conspiracy theory brain went off? I was like, what if? Because
Tell
they
me.
found debris, right?
Yeah.
What if there's another submersive that we don't know about that happened before this one got famous that also wrecked, but we don't know about it because the company is hiding it? And because, you know, they heard the banging or whatever, which they also said they don't know what the banging could have been. It could have been the submersive. It could have been wildlife down there, whatever. But what if the banging was them? And once they found the debris and they gave up the search because they were like, oh, it imploded. What if they were still out there?
How did they hear the banging?
It was like some underwater sea shit. I don't know. Some high-tech tools. But they were also saying it could have been like, you don't know with... That's the thing. We don't know with the ocean. It could be so many things.
Whew.
And that would have been my biggest, I'm not doing this shit right here. There's not enough. My analytical ass brain, there's not enough research into this. I'm not going down there.
And that
And that would have
could
been
have
it.
saved your life.
That would have been it right there.
Whew. Yeah,
So,
it's very insane. What a seriously unserious
What a time on social media.
situation. Right.
What a time of learning about submarines in the water.
Right. And I think about sometimes looking back 50 years from now, someone's going to say something about this and we're going to be like, oh, yeah, we had a time.
We had a time.
What a time that was. Like just random events that we keep having to live through.
Literally. We've lived through so much.
So much. Too much.
Too much, if you will. Too much. So I guess the message is be careful when you're going to the ocean, no matter for what purpose.
Don't get into a submersive
Yeah, don't
without
do that.
doing your research.
You know that little thing that they have, the little picture where it's like, how deep are you going in the ocean? Like, what's your limit? And it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm always like 2. Like,
2.
I'm not going past 2. Like, I'm not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't care how strong a swimmer I am. Like, I'm not doing it.
I used to be kind of fearless and I would just go and go and
Be
go.
a little fish.
Now I'm a little bit skeptical because the wrong wave can just pull you somewhere you did not want to be. And then, I mean, I'm an okay swimmer, but the ocean got nothing. I got nothing on the ocean.
Yeah.
I guess I should say.
Yeah. Damn.
Because that. Oh, have you seen hurricanes? Have you seen
Tsunamis.
Girl, do not play with the ocean.
Like natural shit like that. I'm like, nope. No, I am not bigger than any of this.
Yeah. I wonder if it was like the earth paying us back
Bitch.
for global warming. Like, damn, y'all bitches came this far down. Oh, I got you now. Snatch.
What did we learn? What did we learn from that for global warming, though? What would be the lesson
Just like
from
karma.
a global warming system? Okay, all right.
Just like
all right.
trying to get their look back, kind of.
Their
like,
look back. Oh.
I'm serious.
I know.
Because I think about
just
the
a term.
wildfires, like all the things that we didn't anticipate that global
The
warming
hurricane in
is making
June.
worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, why are y'all trying to come down here?
Stay your ass up there.
Figure that out.
Yeah, because I mean, the freaking graphics of like even fucking certain size whales won't go further than like as far as they had to fucking go. I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
like somebody telling me this and I'm supposed to be like, yes? Like,
People are daredevils.
they
though.
are. They really are.
People pay to jump out of planes every day.
Facts.
So many crazy things that are life-threatening. But, you know, getting in your car every day.
I was just literally driving
It's a
anywhere
risk.
is a risk. It's a fucking
So
risk.
I don't know what to say anymore. Except
don't
good
know.
luck to us all. It feels like the Hunger Games.
Sorrows, press. Like, oh yeah, may the odds be in your favor. That could be an episode title. May the odds be in
Truly.
your favor.
Speaking of the episode, because This was a tangent. I think I kind of pushed us down the path, so I apologize. But I truly was getting introspective.
You were. I loved it though. It was great. Yeah, you want to get into it? All right. Okay, let's move on. Let's get into the chapter. I'm still just like,
Wow.
Cause
We're all superheroes. Yes,
submersive talk is a thing. Like, it's been all over my FYP.
I don't know how I'm not on the same talks as you. I wish you could sync your talks with your friends.
Not sync your talks.
You know what they also need to do?
What?
Groups on TikTok.
Oh, group
Because why don't I have a
messages?
mess? Why can't I send?
You have to send it separate.
I send the same stuff to y'all most of the time, so it'd be a lot easier if I could just go bloop
Yeah, just the one instead of
bloop 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 bloop.
Yeah.
Where is she? Bloop.
I was wondering when they were going to do that, when you could finally send it to multiple people.
They need to figure it out.
They do need to figure it out.
Alrighty.
Do you want to start us off? Because I wanted to do the next one, I think.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you so
yes,
much.
yes.
We are on chapter 79 for those of you following along with us. That is page 268.
Wow. Okay, this was really anticlimactic. Steven, what's going on, Steven?
Steven!
I should have listened to the song before this episode.
You got to listen to it on the way home.
Yikes. Okay, yeah, I will. So, Steven starts off saying, I can't believe I ever thought I was Jesus.
And I was like, thank God. All right. Sounds
The
like he's getting help. The
medicine's
medicine!
He went to therapy.
Yes.
Guys, remember he has been diagnosed as schizophrenic, and turns out that he has been taking lithium now that they've diagnosed him, and so he's getting back to his
Well, no, he was
self.
taking lithium before.
He was?
Yeah, and he was like taking something else, and they realized. Yeah, he told me that it was due to the lithium he was taking, and that with time he'd get back to his old pre-diagnosis self. Yeah, so there was like something. Damn, where is it? It was like he was taking something else, and then the lithium like made it worse, right?
I don't think he was taking anything before.
Oh,
at
it was
all.
just the lithium. Oh, I read it wrong.
No,
You're
like
right.
he wasn't taking anything. He went off the Jeep and they gave him lithium, and now he's acting kind of like,
Oh,
because that's what it does to you. I will say that it makes you like, it's almost like when you have ADHD and then you take Adderall and you become like, some people become like a different person, kind
Got
of.
you. Okay, so I just read it wrong. Okay, that makes more sense.
Okay, period. I feel that. So they are at a table at a bar in Studio City right now, and Jeanette is just taking him in and like feeling really grateful, kind of looking at him like, sheesh, you could have like, you almost weren't sitting here with me.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just in a mental hospital, so like for him to be out, she's just like taking it all in.
Yeah.
So she's really happy, and she's sitting across from him. We learned that it's been 2 months since this, initial diagnosis, and he is not celibate anymore, and they're having great sex again.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was like, good for you, girl.
yeah, I'm happy it all worked out in a way.
In a way.
But we see that it's going to start to, maybe not throughout, like a little bit further on.
Mm-hmm.
But in this moment, they're really good. They're both working on their stuff. And he, is just like looking back too, like, that must have been really scary for you, Jeanette. And she's like, yeah, it was.
She's like, yeah, there's a lot of shit going on, bro.
They're just kind of riding on hope at this point. Like, Jeanette's like, is this too good to be true?
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay, moving on to chapter 80. We're on page 270, and we are back to Jeanette trying to work through her eating disorder.
Ah, yes.
Yes, she's staring at this plate of spaghetti, and she's been staring at it for like 10 minutes. And she's assessing all of the feelings she's having about the spaghetti. The feelings are dread, which is an 8 out of 10, anxiety, which is also an 8 out of 10, fear is a 7 out of 10, and lust is a 6 out of 10. And she's just going through the motions of eating this food and jotting down her feelings, crying it out, and trying to work through these exercises that Jeff, her therapist, her eating disorder therapist, has set up for her that are active things that she has to do for recovery. And we find out she's been seeing Jeff for about 3 months now, and the progress is slow, but it's steady, which we love progress, period, no matter how fast or slow it is. Which I feel like fast and slow is kind of relative because it's different per person.
That's real also.
And they're working on, throwing out all of her diet foods and finding how, like, all food is just food. It's not like this is a good food, this is a bad food, which is something that I've been learning too in my fitness journey and like health journey of like, I can eat whatever I want. It's just a matter of portions and watching how many calories it is and just staying in the zone that I need to stay in order to reach my personal goals.
Right.
In a healthy way, because she even asked Jeff, like, me tracking this stuff, like, isn't that kind of counterproductive almost? Because that's kind of, a process, like, attached to my eating disorder is tracking everything I'm eating, but like that's the negative way. So it's like, how is me tracking it now like positive?
Yeah,
which I think everything,
valid.
Not everything, but most, like, some things can be like both a positive and a negative thing depending on how you spin it.
Wow. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Argue even almost anything.
Yeah, because it's like, I don't know, I'm pulling shit out of my ass right now, but like if you were told like, hey, you're close to being like a type 2 diabetic or something like that, and you're tracking your eating because you're trying to stay away from that range, like that's positive tracking.
Yeah.
But if you're tracking kind of like she was because of like an eating disorder type situation, that could be seen as like negative tracking, I think, is like the difference.
Yeah.
Where it could be like a good and a bad thing depending on how you're using it.
Very true.
So he's kind of explaining these things to her, and she's just like, I don't really understand, but I'm just going to trust the process, because that's where we are now, of just trusting the process and seeing what happens. And so he's looking at what she's tracked, and he's like, this is interesting. It seems like you skip breakfast almost every day, and then you eat a late lunch around 2:30 or 3, but it's not really a lunch. It's not a full meal. And then you purge afterwards, like you eat a really big dinner and you purge. So he's kind of finding these patterns of trying to pinpoint exactly where the issue is within her purging part of her eating disorder.
Yeah, he really was like a data analyst.
He was. He really, because as he was saying it, I was like, oh, like because she's not eating a breakfast, meaning like she's hungry here, and then like if she doesn't eat enough here, then she's really hungry at the end, but then she feels so bad about it that's why she purges. So that's what we're trying to do right now. We're trying to get to the root cause of her issue and work through it that way.
Yeah.
And he asks her, like, why did you purge the eggs? And she just shrugs, and he's like, we'll get there. And he's just kind of recapping everything that she's written down. And she's like, yeah, Jeff, I wrote the list. Like, I understand. And she's like, right, but like, here's the thing. You're starving yourself. And that's why you're purging at the end, like I was just saying. And she was like, honestly, this has been a better week than most, but she's like, because I think I want to quote unquote do well in therapy.
Yeah.
Like I felt like that when I went to my first like personal training session. It's like I'm going really hard because I want to do well in front of this other person, you know what I mean? You're like pushing yourself more.
Right.
Which sometimes you need.
And yeah, it's helpful.
It is helpful. Because then when you do it by yourself, you're like, okay, well, like I set this caliber. Right. That's the big thing. I know I can do this. Like it is possible.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to normalize your eating. You're going to have 3 full meals a day, 2 snacks, predetermined times, no negotiations. And, she has to write off what she thinks are risky foods. And she's like cakes, pies, ice cream, those types of things. And he's like, great. And he's saying one of the ultimate goals here in therapy is to reduce the judgment around food, basically all judgment. We want food to just be food, neutral, which I can think is a good outlet on food. If you start being like, oh, like this is bad, like the diets where it's like no carbs or low carbs and I'm like, none of that's sustainable. Because you do need carbs in your diet.
Yeah, no, so true.
It's just about managing. It's all in moderation.
I don't know. People be saying everybody's different.
Yeah, everybody's different.
But yeah, like I completely agree that the emotional part of like cake is good, or like vegetables are good, or like this is bad. It's like too much emotional labor to be doing when it comes to eating. I just feel like eating is just like
Eating.
Yeah, I'm hungry.
I'm just hungry. And so she's saying all of her feelings, and she's like, all right. Jeff's like, all right, we'll work on these things. And he says, I'll warn you, Jeanette, normalizing your eating patterns and mentally neutralizing food is not going to be easy. Like, it's going to be hard emotional work, like you were saying. And he even says, just straight up bluntly, for so long, your eating has been so fucked up.
And Jeff doesn't curse like that.
Right. She's like, damn.
Like, damn, Jeff.
He's like, it's going to be intense, but I'll help you work through it. And so we kind of flash back to her eating the spaghetti. She's got tears falling down her face, and she's remembering what Jeff said, that this is going to be difficult and hard. But as the tears are falling down her face, they blur the ink of what she's writing. She's like, fuck. She tries to like fix it, and she ends up just crumbling the paper and throwing it across the room. And it doesn't land anywhere near the trash can. And she's like, fuck it, I'm about to go purge. Like, I'm just so stressed, and this is my stress reliever.
Hard. Yeah.
Like, this is what I'm just going to go do. And so that's kind of how we end that chapter.
I feel like we are making progress in a lot of ways. Like, she's able to write her emotions down. I thought that was huge. Like,
that is huge.
Differentiating them, identifying them. Like, even if it's very emotional, that's just, I feel like the work, that's that work part that Jeff is talking about. And I also fuck with Jeff. He's like, he's not as woo-woo as her last one. She was kind of annoying with that shit.
And it's like, some people are for some people and some people are not.
Yeah, that's so true. And it wasn't for Jeanette's cynical ass.
It was not.
She's like, she's like being a different person, low key, just trying to be like around this girl. But Jeff's like, this is how it is.
Thinking.
Straight up. So that's cool. Yep. Okay.
On 81.
Well, speaking of Mr. Jeff and how amazing he is, we are starting the chapter with Jeff kind of giving Jeanette some friendly, helpful advice regarding her slip up that happened and the slip ups that are going to continue happening. Is basically kind of the advice is what the advice is saying is, it doesn't define you. It's a slip. It's just a slip. It doesn't make you a failure. The most important thing is to make sure the slip doesn't become a slide.
Which I thought was like, damn, like that is a good way to look at it.
Just a slip. Because it's so easy to fixate. And he gets into a little bit more about this fixation and what these slips look like and what to look out for and be weary of. And he gives her a pamphlet that seems like is a regular thing that he does. Like there's like a weekly kind of lesson that he sends Jeanette home with, and she even says that she actually really enjoys these things. It simplifies it, seeing it all on the paper versus having it in her head, which is like super chaotic and jumbled.
That's me. I like assignments.
Totally relate. I love a pamphlet. It's like a magazine. It's like, oh. But they always reiterate what Jeff goes over in their little session. And so he's telling her that one of the most important parts of recovery is accepting slips and moving on from them. He also says something that's really interesting, which is that people with a propensity for eating disorders tend to be the types of people who get very caught up in their mistakes and struggle to move on from them. Perfectionists, he says. And he's like, does that resonate? And she's like, yeah. She's like, the label's annoying, but it does resonate. And he goes into saying that the problem with this is that if we beat ourselves up after a mistake, we add shame onto the guilt and frustration that we already feel about our mistake. That guilt and frustration can be helpful in moving us forward, but shame can keep us stuck. And that, I was like, shit.
Yeah.
You're so right.
the reason I keep bringing up my like fitness and because I'm in my weight loss journey era. And I think like I used to like shame and like I used to be like, fuck it, I'm just gonna eat all of this stuff, even though I'm like there's probably better choices and options that I could be making right now, but I'm just like, fuck it, like it's all going to the same place, like who the fuck cares? And I'm like, well, we should care a little bit. Like that's the place where I was at. I'm like, well shit, fuck it, like, but now I'm like, well no, like we need to care like a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit of caring.
Mm-hmm.
We
like,
love to care.
We love to care. Just a little care.
A little bit of care. But yeah, like that shame, that's so, it really does hold you back. Mm-hmm. You can't even move on because you're sitting there like, shame on me and my cow and my family.
Shame. Yeah. You're kind of like paralyzed in it almost to where you can't move on because you're stuck in the shame.
Ooh, and that just made me think about cancel culture. Because I feel like, you know how there's that phrase like bullying works and like some people
it does.
Some people need to be shamed.
Yeah.
But then it's like when you're canceled for the thing and you're being shamed for it, it's like the general public can't move on. Yeah. But it's still that same, like it holds you stuck in this spot.
Or I would even argue like the general public will move on to the next thing, but you're stuck in what you're being like canceled for, or shamed for, or bullied for.
Totally, because that's
like it could be both ways. Yeah, like
shame
you could be stuck
is traumatic.
Shame is traumatic, and honestly, I was like randomly thinking about it. I was like, you know, one thing I would be afraid of like becoming like famous or something like that is being canceled, because it's like I don't know, you like leave this whole life to live this dream, and then like you're canceled for this, you know. Ooh, like some people it's like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have done that. But some things it's like human error that anybody could have done it, but because you're famous and put on this pedestal, it's so much of a bigger deal.
Yeah.
And then true. Like now it's, even if it's like it comes out later where it's like, oh shit, like they shouldn't have been canceled for that, quote unquote. Right. But it's like the damage is already done. Whew. That's a fear I have of fame and all of that. But anywho,
super scary. Hate to see that.
You can't control it.
You truly, just gotta pray that the gods are on your side.
The gods are. This is the theme of this episode.
Right, may the odds be in your favor.
Another episode title, or maybe we already said that could be an episode title.
Infamy is not the worst thing.
That's like that thing where there's like there is no bad press,
right?
But like there is, but
people have been canceled at the beginning of time, but you know what people also love is a comeback. So you never know that like your cancellation could be like, what is it like people like I feel like a preacher. Your cancellation could be
your biggest blessing or some shit. Yeah.
It could be your opening, could be your biggest opportunity, could be the door opening for you don't even know. So anyway.
Yeah, back to we got so off track.
So Jeanette is thinking about this same thing that we're thinking about, the shame spiral, and she's like, wow, Jeff. She said, bingo.
That's it.
She said, she's so tired of swearing over and over that this time she's done for real. And she said, maybe this is the missing piece. When I have a slip, I can acknowledge how disappointing and frustrating it is without getting caught in the shame spiral. And so we're kind of in a hopeful spot here.
Yeah, she's like, maybe it is just a slip.
Accept it, Jeanette.
Accept it. All right, on to chapter 82. It literally starts off with shit. Jeanette is currently late for a meeting, but she's also having to deal with Steven.
I feel so left out of this inside joke between you and Kesha.
You gotta listen to the song.
I saw her and Dr. Luke settled their thing.
Oh, PR?
It was a lawsuit.
Oh, like settled their loss. I thought you meant like settled like between each other.
Oh, no.
So I was like, PR?
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Hope she's doing well.
Right.
She looks great.
She does. And so she's grabbing her bag in a hurry. She's looking at Steven, and he's kind of in this catatonic state. And we find out, ladies and gents, that he has found Mary Jane.
Not only found her, embraced her. And
heavily
embraced her again. And then again.
And then more and more and more.
Never stops embracing her.
Yeah.
That's like, embrace me.
Yeah, she's like crying out for help, Loki. So she started inviting Steven to come along with her to different things, because if she doesn't, he's just gonna sit at the house
and smoke weed.
He's stopped working and seems opposed to the idea of returning to work, which I was like, bum? Hello,
Steven.
But at first I was like, bum, but then I was like, okay, but he's also in recovery, which is honestly why when she said that they had moved in together, I was like, is this a little too soon? Because I do feel like, you know, you can both be going through things at the same time, but the severity that each of them were going through at the same time, like maybe that needed to be like a separate recovery and then they come back together type deal.
I could totally see how it's not maybe in anybody's,
where it's like, I don't know. And that's what she's explaining. Like, she's in this place of like recovery and getting better and like still working and working towards recovery, like I said, and he's just like stalled at this point.
Yeah. Where is he? Is he in the shame spiral? Is he numb to it?
I was gonna say he's in the numb spiral. That's where she's saying. Like, it's just at an all-time high of he just like doesn't care about anything.
Catatonia.
Yeah, level high. Like he's just up in the clouds, not thinking about nothing. And she's even said that she's, you know, attempted to like throw the weed out and like make these like better changes, and like every time he just reverts back to whatever it is. So she suggested he try a new therapist who specialized in addiction. And she planned activities for them, and then they'd be out and about, and he'd be less likely to use. She invites him everywhere so she can monitor him. But she gives him potential hobbies, and she throws away his weed, and nothing's worked. He won't read the articles. He won't go to support groups. Like, he is really just stuck right now. And she's helpless, and she feels powerless over him, but she loves him. And she wants to be together, but it's like sometimes I feel like you have to let those people go for them to get the help that they need to, and not like cling to one another. Like, it's not
like a crutch.
Yeah, like a crutch.
She might be a crutch for him,
right? And like she could be stalling his growth, you know what I mean? Like inadvertently stalling it.
Wow.
Where it's like he needs to go figure this shit out on his own for a little bit, and then maybe one day when he's like, you know, like when they were saying like, oh, he was like, the fact that I believed in Jesus, but it's like you still had work to do, because bro, one time you thought you were Jesus reincarnated. Like,
so true. It's almost like Abbott Elementary, except they chose the right thing, and they didn't live together. Living together makes it harder.
Be together. Just be together. Wait, who are you talking about living together?
Because they're living together.
I thought you were saying Janine and dude. Greg. I was like, wait.
No, what? Just in the sense that they didn't and they do. And I feel like living with somebody makes shit harder, because when I feel like it's that sex component and that living together component that makes it like you are attached to this person, whether or not you're like independent and like doing your things. You are like, it would take some uncoupling to like, it would take some heartache to go your separate ways when you like pay rent together and like have been, you know, just like coexisting together. Yeah, so I can totally see how like, it's tough. It's a very, very sticky situation. Yeah. Because on one hand, it's like, if you love this person and they're willing to work, like you guys could walk together, even though it may be slower. Like you could potentially run ahead if you like didn't have somebody you're holding on to. But I think long term, it's more sustainable to like, if this is what you want, like go walk together. But if that person is literally stuck in the sand and like is not willing to move, you can't not move because they're not moving.
Right.
And you can stay there for a second, but you're gonna resent that person.
In the end, it is, and then it's just overall not good for either party. Like,
Yeah.
it's almost like if you love them enough, you can love them to let them go. Also,
Yeah, I feel like you have to love
rough.
yourself and them
yeah,
in a way.
in a way.
But
No,
if you
no,
don't
that's
love
exactly right.
yourself, then you need their love, and that's more, you know.
It's just it's sticky. It's sticky.
Yeah.
That's another good episode title.
It's
Very ambiguous.
sticky.
It's sticky.
Like a Drake song.
Oh my god. Yeah, like a Drake song. All right, moving on to 83, page 278.
Ooh, okay, this is a good one. Oh my god.
Grandma!
The first and the last sentence of Jeanette's chapters are always so good.
The writing, 10 out of 10.
Too good. Okay, so the first sentence is, Bob, did you hear? She ran out of all her money. And Grandma's wailing. She throws her head on Grandpa's shoulder and weeps, tearless weeps into it. Jeanette's like, this is not even her style. She doesn't even wail and cry and weep like this. And her grandpa's like, that's not what she said, hon. So she paints the scene for us. She's sitting with her grandparents in the living room of her Studio City home, the one that's always under construction. And she's like, I still have Grandma blocked, but she won't let Grandpa see me without her tagging along. So she's just broken the news to them that she'll be selling her house. Grandma's losing her fucking shit.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Saying all kinds of things, talking about Jeanette's broke.
What is she gonna tell her friends? What is she gonna tell Linda?
I know, like, girl, give it a rest. And Grandpa's calming her down, and they're just like, why are you doing this?
It's not even they. It's just Grandma. Grandpa's like, all right.
Yeah, because Grandpa's cool. We've always fucked with
He's one of the
Grandpa.
girls.
He is. He gets it.
Mm-hmm.
And so she goes into why she's selling the house, which is that she's been having conversations with Jeff about things that are stressing her out. And one of the things is her house.
Because she's been having fucking contractors in and out this bitch since she moved in.
She has not had a moment of peace the moment that in the house that she's paying for.
Right, where you're supposed to
That
be
pisses you
most
off.
at peace.
Ooh.
At home.
Hell no. And so Jeff's like, why don't you sell it? And she's like, because it's not smart, Jeff. And he's like, why is it not smart, Jeanette? And she's like, because a home is a good investment, Jeff. And he's like, okay, well then I guess tell me what's so stressful about your home. Because he's trying to fix the problem. He's trying to figure out ways to fix it.
Yeah.
She's like, it's constantly falling apart. There's always something to fix. Contractor comes by almost every day. She's like, I didn't realize home ownership was going to be another job. And she said, I don't have time for this, and I'm not even interested in it. It feels lonely. It feels scary. Too big for me. Don't like the neighborhood. Somebody leaked my address online, so now I get random stalkers. And he's like, wait, that's a lot of stressful things.
Right, like, where are the pros?
Right. And he's like, so you're not selling it because it's a good investment? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, what's making it a good investment? And she's like, it's just a thing I've heard, Jeff. Like, American dream, hello? You bought the house, you've made it? And he's like, but what about your investment in your mental health? Which, checkmate, Jeff.
Check and mate.
He said feeling safe is important to mental health, and you mentioned that you don't feel safe. And she's like, well, yeah, but I don't think I can sell it. And he's just looking at her like
come on.
he's not
please.
even blinking. He's just looking at her. And she's like, I could buy plants.
Yeah, she's like, I could decorate. Maybe it'll feel more homey.
Like, Jeanette, babe.
The solution is right here, and you're over here.
She's over there like, let me go buy a house plant.
Let me go buy some rugs.
He's like, any other ideas? She's like, I could take more vacations. And he's like, that won't directly impact your main environment, your home. So why don't we stay focused on your home? And she's like, so no plants?
She fucking kills me, bro.
She corrects me up. And then she says, I could hire an interior decorator. Right. And he's like, how would that reduce your stress? And she's like, well, the house is kind of empty looking and feeling, and it feels lonely. So I think that would help.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, she calls a realtor, and we are interior designers now.
Yes, and this interior designer is, she's got her own style, guys. Mm-hmm. Jeanette seems to just like close her eyes and just pick. Because I don't know if she looked at a portfolio or anything, but this girl's vibe is not Jeanette's vibe at all. She's like dressed in an outfit that Jeanette doesn't like, which is honestly the hugest red flag. If you don't like your eyebrow person's eyebrows, like,
that's such a
why
great
are you
point.
going there?
Yeah.
Right. Like, if your makeup artist is not giving, you got to not pay her and not do that.
Yeah.
Like, don't do that.
Don't do that one.
So these are the things that, as a young homeowner, make sense. You're not, like, maybe as confident and strong enough to say no, because she literally lets this girl run all over her.
Mm-hmm.
What I thought was funny is that she's like, not only am I a pushover, but I'm a judgy pushover.
Yes, and I'm like, yeah, we picked up on that, Miss Girl. Like, we can
like,
see it.
I'm gonna let you do whatever I said not to do, but I'm gonna like steam over here and brood and feel like you're dumb and stupid.
You're the problem when actually I'm the problem.
Which I think comes from her maternal side. I'm just gonna say it. Because they love doing that. But so yeah, she's like, yeah, do whatever you want, basically. And this girl is like, I'm gonna do mint and cream cheetah print curtains, and I'm gonna do like fun prints. And Jeanette's like, I would much rather be having simple, solid colored furniture. Like,
and she literally says, not a huge fan of animal print. Like,
truly. And this girl's like, cheetah print, cow print, zebra print, that's very in right now.
She's like, we could do subtle accents.
I know. This girl's like, what are you doing, Miss Man? Like,
your client literally told you
what
no
she
prints.
wants. And she's just like steamboating ahead and is like, okay, well, I'm ordering all this stuff. So Jeanette gets all this stuff 3 days later, and she has also getting a receipt that says she owes upwards of $14,000 to Miss Liz. So she's very like shocked. She's like, so can you return all this stuff? I won't be needing these services anymore because I think I'm just gonna sell the house. Like, this was her final sign. And this girl is like, well, I'm disappointed, but those are non-refundable. So
yeah, because she initially told her like, oh, if you don't like it, like, we can just return it. But she's like, as long as it's refundable. And as soon as Jeanette started talking about those curtains, I was like, watch, they're non-refundable. Watch.
Oh, I didn't catch that. So she told her one thing and it was the other.
Yeah, it was like, she was like, okay, yeah, you know, like, if we can return it, we will. But if it's not refundable, it's not refundable. But Jeanette's so like out of it that like she orders these curtains, but then doesn't ask like, hey, is this something that's refundable?
Oh yeah, because she's like, she doesn't care.
Checked out. Yeah. And she's told her, like, this is the part that's like biting her in the ass. Like, now you have to pay this $15,000 basically bill because you wouldn't be like assertive on like what your boundaries were.
That's something you learn the hard way. I feel like we all have to learn it. Whether it's that haircut that you fucking hate and now you have for the rest of your 6 months until your hair grows out, or whatever it is that makes you like, oh my gosh, shit.
Like, I mean, it's happened to me, like, when I don't like how my nails turn out,
Oh my
but
God,
I'm like,
real. And then you drive back.
yeah, and I'm
on
like, okay, well, I guess I
Sunday.
can get them redone in 3 weeks, like I'm going to, but like, you still have to live those 3 weeks with nails you don't want that you paid for.
And it's as easy as just speaking up and saying something. But even though it feels so much harder, it's like once you're doing it, you're like, oh, this was easy. But like to actually like
Do the thing.
Yeah,
it's hard.
we get it, Jeanette.
Yeah, then we have a flash. She loves these flashbacks and flash forwards.
She does. So we're flash forward back to the conversation with her grandma, and she's like explaining. She said, "This is what's best for me, and I really appreciate your support. Like, that's all I'm here for." And her grandma's like, "Well, I just don't." And she said, "Where are you going to be moving to, doll?" She switched her little, she's like, "Where are you going to move to?" And she's like, "I'm moving into the apartment above the Americana." And her grandma stops sniffling and she says, "Oh, the Americana." She said, "Is that the fancy shopping center?" And she's like, "Yep, that's the one." And so we end on grandma's not so mad. And she's like, "They have an Ann Taylor. So I can tell my friends about this.
I was like, not Ann Taylor. Like, bruh.
Guess it won't be that bad."
Yeah, like, oh, it's nice over there, though. Like, bruh.
I hate people.
I hate people, actually.
I hate people.
I'm so weak. Okay, we're on our final chapter for this episode, chapter 84, which, y'all, the next episode.
Don't talk to me
Okay,
about
okay.
it.
We got 2 more, but like,
It's too.
the one before
there's
the
not a lot
end. The
going
one
on
before the
over here.
end. Yeah, yeah.
I don't even think it's a full 6.
It is. It's 7, actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
damn. These
Yeah,
probably
we're doing
short
an extra one.
chapters.
Okay, but chapter 84. She's like, "Am I trying too hard?" And she's talking to Colton and Miranda, and we find out that they're helping her pick an outfit toward this big event, which she calls a first date. But we find out she's going to meet her biological father, which I was like,
Jump scare.
jump scare! Like, 'cause I'm like, all right, we're going through. Fuck.
When I first started reading this, I was confused because I was like, "Where's her man's? They already broke up." I was like, "Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was like a jump.
just-
Yeah.
But no, it's her dad.
It's her dad. Which update, she has broken up. Her and Steven have broken up. That's happened.
Oh, hello.
Yeah. And she's like, "What if he doesn't like me?" And Miranda's like, "He's gonna like you." And she's just really jittery. Like, I mean, like meeting the man who is actually your father after who knows how many years of thinking, like, what does she call him? Mark Dad? Is your dad? Like,
Mark dad.
so she mentions Mark Dad. She's like, even though I couldn't find out much from him about the situation, she was able to get her bio dad's full name and occupation, which with a quick little online research, she found out his official website, and he has a list of credits. He's in a band. He's played on soundtracks for various things like Star Wars, Jurassic World, Lost, countless others. So I'm like,
He's a
okay, successful,
musician.
right? And it just so happens that one of his upcoming tour dates was in LA. And she picked the very last one possible to, like,
What are the odds, right?
Right.
That's why it's cool to live in LA.
I know, and like those like hub cities.
Yeah, of
Where
course
everything
they're
comes
coming to
to.
my city.
Right. It's like you live in Atlanta and you're like, oh yeah, everything's coming to me.
Birmingham. I would have
We're
to
on the
drive.
come up. We're on the come up.
Beyonce.
Ma'am.
Hello, my
Yeah,
daddy,
Alabama. Okay.
All right.
That's our rant. And so she goes to the latest possible LA show because she wanted as much time to emotionally prepare for this. Because I mean, this is a big ass deal.
This is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Whew.
And now they're driving to the concert, and she has all these thoughts like, does he even know that I exist? Does he know who I am? Does he know about my brothers? Does he have a family now? Like, does he even want to know or have anything to do with me? Like, so many questions.
There's so many, and like her mom was the one that had the answers, and she didn't give her the answers.
None of them.
And her dad, Mark Dad,
He's potato.
He's no help.
Yeah. And she's also considered the fact that maybe he'll deny the whole thing. Maybe he'll say, like, fuck off. Like, what you're saying is invalid. And she's like, maybe he won't. And so she's just, like, going back and forth through these decisions. And so Miranda pulls into the valet because Miranda and Colton are going with her for emotional support. We love to see it. And she kind of explains this relationship her and Miranda have versus what her and Colton have. Colton's like holding her hand and giving her hugs. And she's like, my relationship with Miranda is not the same. Like, we hug on special occasions. We don't really touch for real. The physical part is not there. And that's honestly how it used to be, like, me and your friendship versus me and Kenzie's friendship. Like, we hug and touch and whatever all the time. And Kenzie used to be like, there. But now she's a hugger.
Oh, it's that maternal side.
Even a little bit before the maternal side. It was the relationship girly in her.
Oh, that'll do it.
It'll do it. The lover girl. Hey, Kens.
How's Miss Papaya doing?
What?
Is she the size of papaya now?
Girl, I don't know.
Or whatever size fruit.
We got a little well-read baddie baby on the way.
Watermelon.
She was ahead of lettuce the last time we checked, I think.
Okay, so watermelon's not too far off.
Not too far. Okay, let's keep going.
It's a big baby.
R.I.P. to her vagine.
Good luck, my good sis.
Sorrows, press.
Girl, I don't know what that is.
Queen Charlotte?
Nope, don't know. I laughed the first time. I laughed the second time, but this one I was like, I cannot say. I don't know what she's talking about.
Get on Netflix and watch Queen Charlotte. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I'm serious. Okay. And so they're pulling through the corridors of this hotel where everything's at, and typically like when she goes to the bathroom, everybody's like, like, hold up, like, let's make sure.
Everybody knows what the fuck. Miranda, I didn't know Miranda was doing this.
I know, like, subtly knows. So like Miranda goes to the bathroom with her, like, I know this is a very stressful situation, so let me just check on my girl. But she's just in there to like wash her hands because they're really clammy. And she's like, no matter how much I fucking wash these hands, like, I'm just clammy. I'm nervous. Fuck.
Yeah.
And she has a little bit more mascara, a little more blush. She's like, why the fuck am I concerned how I look for my bio dad? Like, come on.
That is toxic masculinity at work, I think. I don't know if toxic masculinity is the right word, but it's not masculinity. It's the patriarchy.
All right, we're blaming the patriarchy. Okay.
We are, because why does she want to look good? Because she thinks men like her more when she looks good. Think about it. She don't want her dad to think, oh, I got an ugly duckling right here.
Not an ugly duckling. All right, patriarchy. And so they sit at this little table, and she describes the crowd. It's mostly people in their 40s and 50s. It's a kind of a jazz music-y vibe, and she says it's a lot of Gucci. And there's this woman sitting next to her, which she describes as wine drunk and pearls clad. And she's like, what brings your kids here? And she thinks about saying, well, my biological father, who I've never met, plays a trombone in this band. So I was just going to accost him after the show to try and find answers about my dysfunctionally mess of a childhood, but but she doesn't. She's like, we just like jazz. Like, just keep it plain and simple.
I think it was Colton that said it, because Jeanette just was staring at her silently.
Oh yeah, Jeanette is the one who says, like, we just like jazz. Yeah, it was an uncomfortable silence. You're right. And the Pearl lady's like, oh, that's good. We need more young people. Culture, like the usual.
There's always that lady. Always.
Mm-hmm. But like, why can't I just be here?
I love that lady though.
She is great.
She's fun.
She
makes friends.
And then her dad walks up on the stage, and she's like, from far away, I'm like, I can't tell if we have much of a resemblance, or maybe mom's genes are just stronger. And the band starts playing, and Colton grabs her hand a few times. Miranda's like watching out of the corner of her eye, like making sure everything's good. And an hour later, the saxophonist announces that this is their last song, and her mouth goes dry, hands are drenched, and her heart is pounding. Mm-hmm. Colton's like, all right, let's go. And the Pearl lady's like, where are you guys going? And she's like, not now, Pearls. And so the final song is coming. They pick up the pace to try to get to the stage exit. And the guard's like, you can't come here. And Colton says, sorry, she just had a quick thing she has to do. And it must have been some type of confidence in his response or something. The security guard's like, all right.
He understood this was a mission sent from God.
Must have. And Miranda's like, hurry, we gotta get to him before he gets backstage. And so she kind of runs the last 30 yards. They make eye contact. He looks a bit puzzled, maybe even a little alarmed. And she says, I think we have something in common.
Which, that was the weirdest thing to say. I'm sorry, but what?
But it's like you're so nervous and like all of the things where you're just like, word vomit comes out.
I know, yeah, you're right. Because if I'm in this situation, I feel like there's no telling what's going to come out of my mouth.
Like, hi, how are you?
Yeah, but that's so funny. I think we have something in common.
Yeah, and his eyes well with tears. So do hers.
It's like he immediately knew.
Yeah.
It's like, did you see himself in her?
Or maybe he like did know in fact who she was.
Oh, because she's famous.
Well, like I'm saying, like knew her, and like, well, okay, let me get into it because it kind of explains that. The next 10 minutes are a very informational exchange and a blur. She asks him if he knew about her and that she existed, and he says yes. And her brothers, he also says yes, and he says that he's been waiting for them to contact him because he didn't want to contact because he didn't know if they knew. And he asks how she found out. She tells him, and he says that things ended really poorly for him and her mom, and that there was a big custody battle when they were little. That her mom said he was physically abusive, and he assures her he wasn't. And she won, and she asked him if he knew that her mom had died, and he says yes, he saw it on E! News, which, like, wild. And the tech people start saying that they gotta move, and they exchange numbers, they hug and say goodbye. Miranda and Colton come over, and she's just having a lot of feelings, and she, can't really identify what they are. It just feels like progress.
No, she can.
Oh, she can. She can identify what they are. It feels like progress.
Right. That is huge That's huge progress for her.
Mm-hmm. And she says, I'm glad he knew that we existed. She's relieved that this event is over. That like kind of build up to that big thing. And you're like, oh, thank God this is done. And she's just really disappointed by how brief it was. And she's confused and sad that he didn't reach out first. And she'll never know for sure if he wanted to meet her or not, or if he's just saying all this because that's what you're supposed to say.
Wow.
It's kind of that like limbo, like you'll never really know. And she's like, as far as first dates go, this has certainly been the most interesting one she's been on, and she's not sure if there'll be a second. Yeah, it's kind of bittersweet.
Yeah, no, totally.
Bittersweet ending. So yeah. Well, y'all, we're reaching the last lap of this book.
What a story.
What a ride. And it is confirmed, I believe, that she's writing another one. Cannot wait.
I'll read anything she writes at this point.
Literally. But we hope you all enjoyed today's episode. Be sure to go watch us on YouTube if you're listening to this audio only to see all of our theatrics. I think we're pretty funny and entertaining.
Hilarious.
But until then, this has been another episode of She Well Read, the Bite Size Book Club podcast. I'm Alana.
And I'm Samra.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.